Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about a fundamental SharePoint concept, the difference between SharePoint team sites and communication sites. So as you know, a SharePoint site is a container or a location where we can put lists and libraries and pages and make it all focused on a particular project or department or company. And there are two fundamental types of SharePoint sites, a team site and a website. Let's take a look at those. So here on the Create a Site page in Microsoft 365 SharePoint Online, when we create a new SharePoint site, we have two choices, the team site and the communication site. Notice at the top of the screen here, there are some links to learn more about team sites and communication sites. Those are useful links. I'm going to summarize that information here in this video. So on the left-hand side, this is clickable. I could click to create a team site, and it has 4 bullets to remind me of what a team site is. Over here, the communication site has a few bullets as well. I've got some more here on my PowerPoint. Okay, let's compare the features of communication sites versus team sites. So first of all, considering what is their primary purpose of a communication site? Well, as the name would imply, it's for communication. It's broadcasting information. So really think of that communication channel, broad audiences, many people. Whereas the team site is more about collaboration on projects, departments, sharing documents within a team. So primary collaboration, primarily broadcasting information. From a communication point of view, communication sites are designed for one person to many persons communication, news and announcements. So again, that it's not usually one to many, of course, it's maybe a few people that manage the communication site and many people that consume that information. Whereas the team site, in contrast, is many to many. So we're all kind of equals here, where we are having discussions, we are co-authoring, collaborating, and working together. Now, the associated with feature here, in order to talk about this, I need to first talk about Microsoft 365 groups. So a Microsoft 365 group is a way of organizing people, a grouping, a gathering of people. So we have many different types of groups. Back in the day, early days of SharePoint, we used SharePoint groups mostly. Now they're still available, but there's a lot of other types of groups in Microsoft 365. And one of the big ones is the Microsoft 365 group. Now, the key thing with a Microsoft 365 group of individuals is that it has email address associated with it. It has a shared mailbox, and it can have a Teams team attached to it as well. You can also attach planners to groups. There's a lot of other ways that groups are used to say, hey there, Microsoft 365. These are the people that are allowed to use this team or plan or etc. So Microsoft 365 groups are a fundamental concept here. Now let's go back to our slide. So communication sites are not linked to a Microsoft 365 group, and team sites are always linked to a Microsoft 365 group. So team, planner, Outlook group, etc. So this has a few implications, including the management of permissions. So because there is no Microsoft 365 group associated with the communication site, we manage the permissions directly on the SharePoint site using SharePoint groups and adding people directly. Whereas with the team sites, we manage via the associated Microsoft 365 group. And this might be within Teams, because Teams, you can add and remove members and owners, and that is actually adding and removing members and owners to the Microsoft 365 group, and therefore the SharePoint site is also affected by those permissions. The default layout of a communication site is visually rich with some full width sections, some news focused. It's really focused on the look, whereas the team sites are focused on the content. How do I get to my files quickly? What are the quick links? That sort of thing. Now, this is the default layout. You can actually make a communication site and a team site look identical. It's just behind the scenes, there are some important nuances that we're listing here. So really think about how you're going to use these sites. The communication site is perfect for a company intranet home or a department portal, you know, human resources site where you're broadcasting information. A few people post, everybody consumes. Whereas the team sites are really ideal for projects, maybe a department work site where everybody in the finance department is working together and chatting on Teams and sharing files. And that's where a team site comes in. All right, I hope that helps you get your sites up and running more efficiently and quickly. If you don't choose correctly, it can cause you problems down the road. A team site cannot be made into a SharePoint home site, for example. So make sure you choose correctly. When we're building intranets, we always build with a communication site first. All right, thanks again for listening, and feel free to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Talk to you later now.